Welcome to the Membership Guys podcast. Kick-ass advice and tips for membership site owners.
Well, hello and welcome to episode 81 of the Membership Guys podcast. I'm your host, Mike Morrison, one half of the Membership Guys, and this is the show in which we dispense proven practical tips and advice for growing a successful membership website. Thank you so much for downloading today's episode and choosing to spend a little bit of time with me. I greatly appreciate it, and hopefully we'll make it worth your while in this episode. In today's episode, we're talking about the 6 things that membership site owners desperately need to stop worrying about. You know, when you're running a membership site, there's so many things to think about, so many plates to keep spinning. And so when it comes to the sort of stuff I'm going to be talking about today, you don't want to be piling on to your already large workload and all the other things you've got to think about by worrying about various situations and various things that you perceive as problems or issues that really you either have no control over or you have no business concerning yourself with. So we're going to look at the 6 most common things that we hear from membership site owners that get on their nerves, that trouble them, that worry them, that keep them up at night. And I'm going to share with you why they're not a big deal, why you should put them out of your mind. So the first of those 6 things is worrying about the fact that some of your earlier members will be paying less than you're currently charging for your membership. We hear this a lot and it's absolutely crazy. Now, I kind of understand the logic. If your membership's been up and running for more than a year, then chances are you put your price up at least once. Let's say you had a launch special deal where for the first 2 weeks or maybe the first month of your membership being open, you offered a deep discount for anyone who joined. And perhaps after 6 or 7 months of running your membership, you put your prices up since. Now, if you're fortunate enough and if you've been running your membership well enough, you should still have some members from around about the time where joining your site was a lot cheaper than it currently is. And what we hear from a lot of different people whose memberships are getting to that 1 to 2 year time frame in terms of how long they've been open, and it actually bothers them and concerns them that they have a percentage of their membership base who are paying less than a new member would pay if they joined today. So quite often they're asking, how can we find ways of getting them to pay more? Can we restrict the content we give them? Could we separate them off and put them into a basic membership level where they don't get everything, then they need to upgrade? And let me tell you, this is such a bad mindset. Those guys who have the better deal, the reason they have a lower subscription payment is because they backed you in your earliest days. Those guys joined when all of the risk was on them, when you probably had less content, you had less to offer, but they saw something in you and they joined. And so if you currently charge $60 a month for your membership, but you have maybe 10% of your members joined when you first opened and now they're only paying you $30 a month, that's their reward. That's what they get for supporting you from an early stage. And that's what they get for sticking with you throughout the development of your membership site. So you shouldn't be looking for ways to further monetize them or to find ways of screwing them out of the deal that they signed up for. If you find yourself resenting the fact that you have some members who are paying a much lower price than the rest, you shouldn't resent the fact that those members are around. In fact, you should be looking for ways to reward them further for their loyalty. If these guys have stuck with you through thick and thin, they've been there from the very beginning, then you should be thanking them for that, because without them, your membership site may never have gained the momentum it needed to actually reach a stage where you're now worrying about the fact that they're not paying as much as everybody else. So that's the first thing. As a membership site owner, if you find yourself fretting about the fact that you have some of your earlier members on a much, much lower monthly subscription payment than new members currently pay, that is one thing you need to strike from your list and stop worrying and stop complaining about. The second thing as a membership site owner that you need to stop worrying about is trying to please everybody. It's an impossible task. And actually, you don't want to please everybody. You don't want a membership that is so broad and generic and middle of the road because you're trying to satisfy everyone and keep everybody happy. It's simply never going to happen, and you can drive yourself crazy trying to tick everybody's boxes. I'm a big fan of Kevin Kelly and the idea of targeting 1,000 true fans. So focusing on your 1,000 true fans, people who connect with you, who resonate with your story, who connect with your style, your way of doing things, your message. Focus on those guys instead of trying to be the everyman and trying to create something where essentially you're watering down your offering, your personality, and your brand in the hopes that you'll be able to create something that ticks all the boxes, that satisfies everyone. Don't try and please everybody with your membership. It's never going to happen. Instead, focus on ramping things up in terms of how you engage with your 1,000 true fans, or however many people that is. If you had 1,000 people join your membership who are rabid, raving, passionate fans because they really get you, they really connect with you, then 1,000 members, for most people listening to this podcast, if they're paying you $40 or $50 a month, that's plenty. When you try to please everybody, ultimately you end up pleasing nobody, and you're not going to generate that passion and that connection within the broader market that will actually compel people to join your site. So if you find yourself continuously worrying about making everyone happy and creating a membership that pleases everyone, again, cross that off the list. That's one thing you should stop focusing on, stop worrying about, and stop allowing to derail you from actually running the membership that you want to run. The third thing membership site owners really need to stop worrying about is that one guy. You know that guy. That person who always complains, there's always something to say. He's always got to find faults and nitpick with everything you do. You need to really shut that one guy down. Stop worrying about them, because in those cases, it's very rarely an issue with you or with your membership. It's almost always that person, their issues, something going on with them. Listen, if 100 people have one complaint, then there's an issue. But if one person has 100 complaints, then the issue is with them. It's what I like to call a picnic problem. Problem in chair, not in computer. So don't allow that one guy to monopolize your attention, to cause you problems, trying to keep them subscribed to your site. Actually, people like that can be toxic to your membership, particularly if they're making their complaints on your community forum or on your social media channels. You can't run around like a headless chicken trying to satisfy that one guy, so take that off your list of things to be worrying about and spending your time on. The fourth thing membership site owners need to stop worrying about and thinking about is uninvited, unconstructive criticism. People love to give you what they call constructive criticism, but constructive criticism is very rarely constructive at all. You need to have that confidence and have that firmness in your belief, your genuine belief that what you're doing is good, your offering is good, your purpose, your mission, your message, your content, your materials, they are good. You know what you're doing, and if you didn't, you wouldn't have members paying you. So if someone offers up unconstructive criticism or criticism of any type, if it's not invited, you need to be steadfast enough to actually say no. Now, this isn't to say that you should bury your head in the sand and not accept any sort of input from your members, from your audience, but if you want that feedback, then you should be the one who seeks it. Survey your audience. Get members onto one-on-one calls to chat to them for 10 or 15 minutes about what they enjoy from your membership, what they might improve, what they get the most value from, and so on. You have to be the one who controls the flow of feedback. If you're not asking for criticism, if you're not asking for feedback, you do not have to accept it. Because again, those people who thrust their criticism and their feedback and their input upon you, usually it has something to do with them more than it has something to do with you. Instead of those sorts of people and that sort of criticism, you should be focusing on the positive stuff. Because what happens is, if someone gives us a little bit of negative feedback or a bit of quote-unquote constructive criticism, it can send our head in a spin. And even if they're the only person who mentioned that and the only person who said something negative, you dwell on that, don't you? We all do it. You can have 200 people telling you that your membership is fantastic, But if just one person tells you, well, it's alright, but it could be better if you did this and this and this, that's the thing you focus on. You need to flip that around and start focusing on the positive. One of the big things that we do, as silly as it sounds, we have a happy folder on our computer. It's actually in our shared Dropbox for the membership guys. And any nice comments we see people make, whether it's in our Facebook group, maybe it's a comment on our social, perhaps it's just a throwaway line in an email to us, maybe it's something they've actually written in the feedback survey we'll put out, anything whatsoever that makes us smile, that makes us happy. We take a screenshot and we put it in our happy folder. Now, of course, we seek testimonials, and with stuff like that, we like to share those kind of comments, but there's a lot of stuff that we keep just for ourselves. So anytime somebody comes forward with that little bit of unconstructive criticism or, negative comments manage to filter their way through to us, which fortunately is very rare with MemberSite Academy and the membership guys, but it does happen. Then we have a folder full of constructive, positive feedback that we can actually turn to that helps us avoid getting too preoccupied with that one comment, that one little negative bob that for most people will really, really send your head into a spin. So that is the fourth thing you as a membership site owner need to strive to forget about, to stop worrying about, stop spending your time on. Uninvited, unconstructive criticism. You don't need to accept it, and you need to focus on the positive stuff instead of the little nitpicky negatives that find their way to you. The next thing you need to stop worrying about is what your competition is doing. We all assume that everybody else has it figured out. Everyone else has got the secret formula. Everyone else knows exactly what they're doing, and you're the only one who has any doubts, who deals with any sort of failures, who is still trying to figure certain things out. And when you see competitors, whether they're direct competitors or whether it's people in the same sort of general space, when you see them doing something, maybe they're employing a new tactic, maybe they're using a particular social media channel that you've not seen them use before, perhaps they send out an email to you that's in a certain style, you always assume they're doing that because they've got the inside track. They know that this is the best way of doing things, and you're missing a trick, you're one step behind. And so you end up following them, but it becomes a case of the blind leading the blind, because the truth is, everyone's still figuring this stuff out. Especially with membership sites, despite what some of the sleazy internet marketer type online gurus will try to tell you, there is no one-size-fits-all formula for membership success. It's an outright lie, it's a fallacy, and we have been involved in multi-million-dollar membership websites, and we can tell you there is no foolproof blueprint, there is no guaranteed formula, there is no secret sauce. That's the big secret of online marketing. Most of it is just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. And of course, there's method to the madness in most cases, but just because something's working for one person doesn't mean it'll work for you. And just because someone is trying out a new tactic or they've suddenly started doing a lot of Facebook Lives, it doesn't mean that they've landed on something that is the golden goose and you should follow them. It just means they're doing what you do, trying things out, testing it, trying to find their way. So don't just blindly follow competitors. Don't get preoccupied with what others in your field, whether they're direct competitors or not, are doing. We're all just trying to find our own way. And the thing is, when we look at what other people are doing, we naturally compare ourselves to them. But of course, on the surface, we only see the tip of the iceberg. It's a bit like a duck gliding along on a river. We see that nice, calm duck just bobbing along, nice and smooth, everything's figured out, but we don't see that under the water, their legs are flapping away and all that sort of craziness is going on. So don't compare yourself with competitors, don't preoccupy yourself with what your competition is doing, because, even if they do have it figured out, there's all sorts of other factors at play, so just concentrate on you, concentrate on your own business, concentrate on serving your own members. And the final thing that membership site owners need to stop worrying about, need to stop wasting their time over, need to stop complaining about, is their members joining other memberships. Now, this is something we all do, and I'll admit to it as well. Sometimes even now, despite how long we've been around, if we spot that one of our members has joined another membership, because, we are in a lot of memberships by nature of what we do, so we do see our members pop up in other memberships from time to time, then the gut reaction is to see that as a threat. Because I think we have in our heads that people will only pay for one, maybe two memberships. And so if someone joins another membership, that puts their continued subscription to your site at risk. What happens if they compare your site to this other website they've joined? What happens if money suddenly becomes tight and they can only afford to spend $40 or $50 per month for online learning or for online community, and it's going to come down to your membership versus this new membership that they've joined? Are they joining this new membership because you're not serving them in the right way, or there's something missing? The truth is, we don't just read one book. You don't just watch one movie, follow one band, have one mentor. Someone who is inclined to be a part of a membership is more likely to be part of 2 or 3 at once. And yes, there might come a day where that person takes a look at all the subscriptions they're paying for and they need to weigh up the value of being in all those memberships and maybe even make a cut or make a change. But if that happens, you can't control it. You can't stop your members from joining another membership site in the same way you can't stop them from eating at more than one restaurant or, as we said before, reading more than one book, watching more than one movie. So all you can do is focus on you. Again, it's what we said before. Focus on your website. Focus on showing up and serving them within your membership. Focus on making sure that you're offering amazing value, that you're helping them get the results they join your membership for, and that they're aware of the value they're getting and how great it is to be a part of your membership. So if any of these things are stressing you out, if you find yourself complaining or worrying or getting preoccupied with any of these 6 things, with what your early members are paying and worrying about whether you can charge them more, or the fact that they're getting all this great stuff for less than everyone else is, if you're worrying about pleasing everybody, or in particular that one guy who always complains about everything, they've always got something negative to say, if you're getting uninvited, unconstructive feedback and that is taking up your brain space, or if you're constantly obsessing over what your competition is doing, always following them, trying to figure out what the secret formula is that they obviously have access to and you don't, or if it bothers you when you see your members joining other memberships, you need to strike all of those things from your head, because they're just going to distract you. It's the sort of stuff you don't have any control over. It's the sort of stuff you really shouldn't be focusing on. Focus on your membership, focus on the positives, focusing on making sure that you're delivering to your members, you're showing up, you're serving, and you're giving great value in your membership. None of this stuff should be occupying your brain space. So hopefully that's helping you to clear out some of the stuff that's on your brain, some of the stuff that annoys you or gets under your skin. And if you find yourself worrying about any of these things, then come back, re-listen to this episode and get that little bit of a kick in the pants from me about why you shouldn't be preoccupied or wasting your time on any of this stuff. That's it from this episode of the Membership Guys podcast. Thank you guys so much for downloading the show, for your continued support, for the positive reviews, the feedback on social media, all that great stuff. I'll be back again next week with another episode of the Membership Guys podcast. If you've enjoyed today's episode of the Membership Guys podcast, we invite you to check out the membersiteacademy.com. The Membersite Academy is the essential resource for anyone at any stage of starting, growing, and running a membership website. So whether you're still figuring out what your idea is going to be, or whether your website is already up and running and you're just looking for ways to grow it and attract new members, then the Membersite Academy can help you to get to the next level. With our extensive course library, monthly training, exclusive member-only discounts, perks and tools, and a supportive, active community to help you along the way with feedback, encouragement and advice, the Membersite Academy is the perfect place to be for anyone looking to start, manage and grow a successful membership website. So check it out at membersiteacademy.com.